guess I'm the bad guy. Yeah, I'm the bad guy. Let everybody else tell it out here. I'm the bad guy. I ain't tripping though. I'm not tripping.
What dog? Where you been, man?
I've been watching.
What's
I've been watching.
going on with you?
Man, just chilling, man.
Ain't nothing changed.
It's been changing. You see people, and you don't think you watch. It's a lot of stuff changing. What's this? Oh, you did? Okay.
Hey, preacher, I heard you. I heard.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna drop that on here now. I was gonna ask you about like what was the. Yeah, hold on.
They can't even kids. They can't even have a single team.
But they keep playing these games, and that's why I just asked them like, is that gonna come?
Imagine all exists on it. They prohibit it from doing any of it.
Yeah, it's prohibited for any of the foul directly operating the public school and enroll the people in membership in the district. Just as an advisory board that all legacy debt of the district has been paid or otherwise satisfied.
That's why I just asked. Is she gonna get on the ball?
But see, they just gotta say they operate independently of the district board.
They supposed to. They ain't got no control, but that's what people going back and forth talking to them, acting like they do got some control. No, they don't. Do your job.
Look at me. Yeah. We ain't got all these PhDs and we understand.
Oh, come on, man. And the crazy thing about it is they be using that. I got a doctorate and a PhD. So that shit don't mean nothing if you're not applying it right. Right.
You need some common sense, folks.
I take them any day who got a heart and believe in something. And if they wrong, they'll tell you I'm wrong. If they right, they gonna tell you you're right.
This ain't something new. They know we do.
We've been knowing this.
We've been knowing this all the time. That's why God sees and all you can do. They want to.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why you live. They'll never
But
fight.
wait a minute.
They knew at the time. They knew what God said.
They know it.
She knew how to. Yeah, she
The
knew.
only reason why they did it is because of Kelly.
Yeah.
No, because they don't know. They don't know. Listen, man. You remember every week we go to ask them. They do something. They couldn't do nothing. They couldn't do nothing because of the language.
Right. And it was a tied contract. Come on, man.
Wait a minute, you know I ain't got no.
Yeah. Well,
You heard what he said? What dog? You heard what he said? You heard what he said? I ain't got, hey, man, but look, man.
Watch dogs. We used to go there all the time. Every month. Ask them to do something.
about what was going on in this system.
And they couldn't.
Well,
Now we know why they couldn't do nothing. But we already knew because of this.
But that's why I was telling them. That's why I was telling them with Leslie and then with her. How y'all gonna keep putting them into them? You talking to them? You don't got to. But we stupid though.
Hey, that's it.
we want to include them in the conversation.
We stupid though.
Like, hold up, before we okay something.
Garcia, Chris Dean, and Rufus talked to them.
Man, come on, man. Share this. Since they want to say everybody be lying and we don't know what we talking about, I've been saying this since day one. This is what I've been talking about.
This group here more power than they ever had. This right here.
Screenshot it.
This paper here give them so much power.
But y'all want to say people don't know what we talking about. But they messing over the kids, but all they care is about the statuses. But y'all get mad at us for calling it out. I ain't got no skin in the game. And if you're working with somebody, your boss is over there. They in that circle, and I'm gonna call it out. I ain't gonna. Y'all read it. What it say? What they say? Huh? Oh, okay. The state language. State language. They can get sued. What y'all think people be lying? That kind. Come on, man. They been had the power. It's just she been sabotaged. No, they read. They read. They read.
They
read.
Then they don't comprehend.
The crazy thing, man, they did. That's how you, man, listen, man, they playing the games how the game's playing. You think they ain't read it? You think she ain't read it? She'll tell you if she had. I can put my life on she read it.
That's what they asked the question. Have you read it?
No, I ain't talking about. I'm talking about kids.
Huh?
I'm talking about kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, she knew it.
That's what I'm saying. When all this stuff was going down the first time,
She knew it.
she knew.
She knew.
That's why she kept throwing little monkey wrenches and asking different little questions and different little things. Come on, man. Come on, man. See, it's all making sense. And then they get mad at you for calling out. Why nobody want to come up here and just get the calling out people for the wrong stuff? Trying to say like they ain't did nothing. It's so crazy, man. If the parents really gave it in, they'd be up here going crazy with these people. Because they need to separate them goddamn kids, man. They need to separate them, man. You know what? That shit. Come on, man. They got old people praying on y'all. They praying on these younger. They go to the same school. Man, that's what they be saying out here, man. That's what them kids be saying. That's why I've been advocating like y'all ain't hearing what they saying. This is what the kids in here saying. But if you, they know, come on, man, they know the kids. Come on, come on. They said, look, man, y'all should have had my kid. Come on, man. Okay, man, they ain't belong up there. This is too much. Listen, if I had a son that was in the 9th grade and I got a daughter that's in the 7th grade and she up here with the 9th, they up in the snow, I raise hell. I put them in different school districts. They 7th grade is a transition to teach you how to be 7th to 8th grade. You be separated. That's the transition. It's a transition. When you come from a kid, you coming from a 6th grade, so you got a 6th grade mentality. 7th to 8th grade is the 2 years you need to get yourself on to get a base. To get a base. And that base, how this is where you can transition. Yeah, and this is how it goes. So you running it together, no experience. That's too much like right now. Too much they cutting costs, y'all cutting in pockets where the money going. If everybody cutting costs, right, then you should have a pile of money stacked up somewhere. They just want to use it to build and stuff. No, I'm just saying that. Am I right? Am I right? Am I wrong? What? If you didn't cut all the bills, right, and y'all was trying to save some money, right? We should have a
meeting is called to order at 6:07 p.m. Roll call, please.
Dr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Manat, Ms. Slater.
A point of order, we need to make a couple of changes on the agenda. For after the approval of the agenda, we're going to call for the approval of the minutes. There's going to be a correction of the minutes, but it will appear after approval of the agenda. And also, we're going to add to the agenda the change of time at high school. So we need a motion, please, to add to number 5 of the agenda, approval of minutes. I make a motion. Can I get a second, please? Yes.
Make a approve meeting minutes from April 17th.
Add it to the agenda.
Huh?
We're add- It's probably moved and seconded that we add to the agenda the approval of the minutes under after number 3. I'd like to make a motion at this time to add to the action items, a motion to change the time of the high school from what?
From 8:10 to 2:45.
8:10 to 2:45, that will go under action item, and that will be action item, A1. Okay, so we're going to have under the discussion item, it will be A1, the changing of the time of the high school, and then an action item A1 for that same item. I make that motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dr. Hunt.
Yes.
Ms. Minot. Ms. Slater. Dr.
At this time, I'll call for the approval of the agenda. Can I get a second on that, please?
Second.
Roll call.
Dr. Hunt.
Yes.
Ms. Minot. Ms. Slater. Dr.
Next, we're going to have approval of the minutes with a correction. And that correction reads, a motion that the April 17th, 2023 minutes be corrected to read for action item B as follows. Motion to accept Meta 24 proposed licensing agreement contingent on review by the legal representatives for compliance with state and federal law, charter contract and its merit, compatibility with ESP service agreement, and assurance of extra funds. That is the motion. May I get a second? Yeah, a motion that the April 17th last meeting's minutes be corrected to read for action item B as follows. Motion to accept Meta 24 proposed licensing agreement contingent on review by the legal representatives for compliance with the state and federal law, charter contract and its merit, compatibility with ESP service agreement, and assurance of ESSER funding. In other words, we didn't complete that, the entire statement for the Meta 24 last meeting, so it had to be added in.
I made the statement I wanted to make.
Pardon me?
I made the statement I wanted to make at the last meeting. Who said it wasn't right?
See?
Since the meeting last week, the attorneys looked over the contract, and it's in conflict with our ESP service provider. Because the ESP service provider, which is going to be MM1, we voted on that, there's the same similarities in the information that we received from Meta 24.
Right, and I've asked probably 3 or 4 times, why couldn't they do the same thing they did with MM1 by reaching out and correcting the contract, and no response.
Because Meta 24 is not a service provider. We only were talking to them about curriculum.
Right, and the issue was with the contract per the attorneys. they could have reached out to Meta like they
They,
did with
they didn't
MM1.
know that until after the fact.
Oh, they knew.
In our closed session, we talked about, it was stated that
Okay,
they had not reviewed the contract.
okay. I got the email. Don't worry about it.
We have a copy of the meeting from last week. Should we play that?
The audio? I got the audio when I made the motion, if that's what you want to hear.
Okay, so at this time,
Oh, okay.
we want,
That's what I'm talking about, get what, big facts.
I don't know what we're voting to amend. As it relates to the contract with Meta.
it is an
We took a vote, we voted on it. So I guess I'm confused at what we're now trying to do, because if we're gonna talk about motions, when we voted for the MM1 contract, according to Robert's Rules of Order, we need to redo that vote. Because Robert's Rules of Order states that when you request a motion, and that motion is not carried, it is a dead issue. You cannot then re-enter into discussion about that motion, which is what happened when the MM1 contract was voted upon. So that should be a dead issue.
Out the door.
That motion or that vote should have never taken place, because the motion was never carried once when we voted for MM1. Well, I didn't vote for it, but when that vote was made, what happened at that time was a motion was requested to accept the MM1 contract. Nobody voted, nobody made a motion.
Y'all want to hear?
And this is my,
Couple of-
and anybody can
That was
correct
the
me if
last
I'm
meeting.
wrong on my recollection. Then Mr.
They had two
Broadnax brought up a
meetings.
discussion, because I know Ms. Fox said, well, if we don't, vote on this, on the ESP, we have to start over again. He said, yes, you were then opening up a discussion on a motion that was dead. You cannot do that according to Robert's Rules of Order.
why was it there?
Then the motion, because nobody ever made a motion. Nobody ever made a motion to accept that contract.
We did.
No, after it was dead, Mr. Fike asked the question. Then there was more discussion about it. You cannot do that according to Robert's Rules of Order.
Well, point of order, we're talking now about Meta 24. So if that was a point of order at that particular time, that should have been raised at that meeting.
And what I'm saying, you wanna re-vote on that, then we need to re-vote on it.
No.
What is?
So-
Because that motion was incorrect.
Let's just stop for a second. Can you just explain to us what's the difference between what you're doing with MM1 and Meta? Because if we have to go back and change Meta, when I clearly said that I'm making a motion as written on the contract, that's what the audio says. If you want me to play it, I'll play it, but I shouldn't have to go that far. But you want us to go back and correct it because you didn't understand or we didn't write what was in closed session, because the attorneys recommended us to change the motion.
So let's meet.
They recommended me to change it, and I said, I'm making the motion as written. So you wanna go back and change that, but you don't wanna go back, you don't even wanna hear what she has to say about
I'm listening.
about the motion with MM1.
No,
So what's the
because
difference, just tell us what's the difference between what you're doing with MM1.
the difference is this, is that we voted on MM1 and we moved forward with that particular discussion. We didn't,
We voted on that.
and with Meta 24, I was going to make the motion that we had talked about. And it was interrupted.
It's not what you
And-
were going to do, it's the
No.
motion that was made, Dr. Hunt. You can't adjust the board to fit what you want it to fit.
Right.
We have to vote as a board, like you told me that, you know, the other day,
Okay.
today or whenever it was, you told me I have one vote, right? You have one vote, so until we vote to change that, you can't just say, we're adding this to this agenda. It doesn't work like that.
Okay, then what is your pleasure? What's your
We
pleasure?
told you our pleasure. multiple times. And if I need to read all of the emails I've sent, I'll sit here and do it. We'll be here at 10 o'clock.
So you want to, accept the minutes as they are written?
I have nothing else to say about it.
That, we're at the approval of the minutes. So we don't have to go any further with that. If you want to approve the minutes as written, then we'll approve the minutes as written. If that's what you're asking.
The minutes are the minutes. I don't know what needs to be amended, because what we voted on was minutes before. So I don't know what we're amending. What are we amending?
The only thing that needs to happen is the contract needs to be adjusted to fit what the language needs to look like. That's the only thing that needs to happen. We don't need to go back and vote.
So what's the board's pleasure on the approval of the minutes? Roll call.
Nobody made a motion or anything, you can do it.
What would you like to make a motion? Would you like to make a motion?
I would like to refer to the attorney.
This is where we are right now. We were talking about the approval of the minutes. And I mentioned that part of the information in that, on the minutes, I was going to make an adjustment based on
looking at me like I'm
what we discussed as far as the context of
You
the
can't do that.
agreement contract. And they're saying that we can't do that. We should not do that because it needs to stand as it is. So I asked for the pleasure of the board, and so now they just want to vote on approve the minutes as they stand.
That's not what we do.
What do you
I
want to do?
think the board could do both. Okay, the board could approve its minutes from the last time in the exact manner that it was stated and voted on. The board would then need to make a amendment and to clean up what needs to be cleaned up as it applies to me.
So we approve the minutes, leave it as is, and then revisit that at some point?
Correct. It will need to be revisited.
That's it.
There are legal considerations that I don't want to provide you, obviously, attorney-client privilege in public, but there are legal implications from the previous vote. And we need to ensure that we're complying with state law.
And I would like for you to hear what Ms. Slater said about MM1.
Right, when we vote on M1, that vote should have never happened. Because when it was first called for a motion, no one made the motion. No one. When no one makes a motion,
Right.
then this becomes a dead
She just
issue.
went on. She did
That's
that.
Robert's Rule of Order. You cannot then bring up discussion
Y'all didn't hear it. That's what
about
I'm
that
saying. Like,
motion
what is it?
after it's dead. And that's exactly what happened when we voted for M1. So that contract should be null.
And some people tell me
They had 2 meetings back to back. We had one that stayed here for like 9 hours. It was only 3
the
people.
original vote.
Yeah, it was like 3 people here. And then the other meeting here, it was like 6. Yeah, like 6 hours. And only 4 people showed up. I got all of them. So basically, that is your you can do it. You got to prove, but then nobody say nothing. She did it anyway. That's what I was saying. She right on it. She right on it. She right on it. That's what I said. But then they got mad. You can't, if a person right, they right. If they wrong, they wrong. You just got to call it out. What a tip they like. It's just a discussion. Come on. It ain't that. It's on YouTube. I got the last 3 meetings. Well, I got all the meetings. They on to YouTube. The last when we was here, nobody was here.
One of the
Yeah.
One of the requirements of that, if you're going to challenge that is taken to the gas being property, it has to happen within 6 weeks. If you're going to, if you want to change the outcome, if you just want to challenge the risk violation, you have 6 months to challenge. So, given that this occurred on March 20th, I would say it's probably outside of that 6-week period. I'm doing the math in my head, I'm almost certain it's outside of 6 weeks.
What's today? Today was
March
what,
20th.
16th? Oh, they just, no, it's almost 2 days. Well, they might got 2 days. I think they might got 2 days. Even 2 days before 2 days.
Let me pull it up.
I don't recall that in the motion.
Nobody. And then it went into discussion. You cannot do this before it's right. If no one makes a motion, as requested, the issue becomes a big issue.
That's what I was saying.
So,
And then it was discussion, Ms. Broderick said, we don't vote on this now, we want to start over. And then you ask again for the motion, and you can't do that before it's right.
well, right now we're dealing with, we can look it up. Right now we're dealing with the approval of the minutes.
You guys tabled it March 10th. When you're referring to.
It was tabled, we wouldn't have voted.
That was 2 weeks ago. That was the last meeting. This May 16th, so that was like what, the 20th, 2017? Yeah, it had to be
I
somewhere.
make a motion that we approve the minutes. Can I get a second, please?
You either gotta be,
If there's no second, then I guess it's
you either that 10th.
guys. Okay, next on the agenda is the financial report.
One of these two. So these three meetings. I got,
You have
they
financial
was switching
report?
stuff. Like, how are they doing it? She kept doing it.
Next is the interim superintendent's highlight. She can get one, she was not, able to. She never come to school. I spoke with her in the she said she could do it, but she needs to have it.
Oh, cause the
She
way.
needs to come to who?
So is it fine that the district shouldn't be working with M1 right now? Or the district is illegally working with M1? They trying to say the district
At this
board,
time, the interim superintendent spotlight, please.
they trying to say
Well, good afternoon.
they working with M1 illegal.
Madam President, Madam Vice President, Treasurer Fox, and Member Renat. In May, talked about and launched our first interim superintendent spotlight. And that is for folks that go above and beyond call of duty in our schools within the district. You know, I can't believe some people don't even like it. Some people don't even like it when folks are acknowledged. They don't like it. And so you ought to praise people for doing the work for kids. We're here for kids, not for adults. We're here for kids. And this is a initiative I started because a lot of times staff does not get the praise that they deserve working day in, day out for kids. We just had Teacher Appreciation Week all week last week. And I wondered how many teachers got appreciated or felt appreciated throughout the district. So, but I've watched staff. I've been in schools quite a bit, and so I know who's doing work. I get the emails. I see hands-on. I get reports from other staff members. And tonight, the person that I chose to receive this award works very tirelessly for the district, loves kids, goes above and beyond all the time, takes on more duties than necessary. And that would be tonight, I want you to help me congratulate Ms. Brenda Rybecki from Edgewood tonight. I need somebody to come take a picture. Come on, Ms. Lott. Come take a picture, Lott. Come on. So this reads, it reads, thank you. The Muskegon Heights Public School Academy System presents the Superintendent Spotlight to Ms. Brenda Rybecki for your hard work, dedication, and commitment to the students of the Muskegon Heights Public School Academy System in the great state of Michigan. Signed, Superintendent of Schools, Interim Superintendent, this day in May 16, 2023. This is a plaque hang up in your office, classroom, and this $50 gift card directly from the superintendent, not from the school district account, but from the superintendent's bank account. Congratulations. Keep up the good work. All right, thank you so much. Let's give it up for Ms. Rybecki one more time.
I pulled it up in section 10 of the era, and normally somebody has, and I apologize, I think I said 6 weeks after 60 days. 60 days in which to challenge a decision, otherwise it's refused to be valid. Subsection 3 indicates that it, what? Oh, no, I'm talking. Subsection B, it's subsection 3B, indicates that if the decision involves the approval of contracts, the receipt or acceptance of bids, the making of assessments, et cetera, within 30 days after the approved minutes are made available to the public pursuant to the decision, it's considered to be valid. It's presumed to be valid. So it's a shortened timeline if you're challenging the actual decision, which this would be, and it would be 30 days from when the minutes were approved and made available to the public. So whatever date that was, it will be on 30 days, and it's presumed to be valid.
Thank you.
So we need to figure out when the minutes were provided to the public. It was 30 days after that.
Correct.
So if that meeting happened in March, then that would have been April, May. So it's probably, you might not be.
Intelligent. I knew
Thank you, Mr. Vice President, legislative. Also, it's kind of a moot point now because we did approve the minutes, so we can move on from that. Next is the compliance report, and Ms. Williams was here, but received a call that her mother was ill, and she had a 3-hour drive, so she did apologize for not being here, but she did give me some information in regards to her walkthrough today of the school districts. And there are some non-compliance issues, but they're not major. One of the main concerns she has is the auditorium at MLK. That has been 3 years in the making of us having to rectify that. So she highly recommended that we look into that and see if we can at least make some headway or find out how we can get some funding to make that improvement. Also, she said that she is going to write up the report from today's walkthrough and get that to us by Friday. So it'll probably be on the website as soon as we receive that from her. Next is going to be the president's update, and I just wanted to walk through a couple of items in regards to some of the things that have occurred with us. In December, at the December meeting, we had our board election, and at that time, we made some decisions as to the withdrawals of things that occurred in the area of legal affairs. Then in December 19th, we completed a part of the CAP response given to us by New Paradigm, and we then voted on Academy furniture, which now is in place at the different school districts. We initiated an RFP process for an academy superintendent that occurred on December 19th. January 23rd, we received letters of interest for the position of superintendent. We had, again, election of officers, hiring of a recording secretary. That was the action items. And we also made, we discussed hiring a superintendent at the January 23rd meeting. February 6th, we canceled that meeting because of, we're not gonna have a forum, but we rescheduled that meeting for February the 9th. At that time, we talked about the number of resumes we had received for the superintendent's position, and we gave a listing of what the process would be for the selection of the superintendent. That is available for anyone that would like to see that, but I do have a copy tonight if you'd like to view it. Then February the 9th, we talked about interviews for the superintendent. We talked about hiring a contract specialist. And then we also made resolutions that would affect how we would proceed with each of our meetings and special meetings. We were going to list those because I believe that they had not been listed. It was a compliance report and we were asked to make that adjustment. On the 16th, we were going to have interviews for superintendents. We added an additional legal counsel, and there, based on information that we received, there was a motion to postpone the interview process for the superintendent. The request for proposals for an educational service provider was December 17th through the February 21st initially, and then we extended that to March 8th based on recommendations of our authorizers. On the 27th, February 27th, oh, I read that already. On March 10th, we did the RFP process and review committee recommendations. We had two service provider finalists. We went over the contractual agreement, and then we had a motion to hire, and then we had an extension for the transition agreement resolution. The interview schedules for the superintendent, the first round was going to be, at that time, February the 21st. We moved that to May. That's when we reinstated the interview process for superintendents. And I believe that our treasurer and secretary is going to report on that at this time. During the, excuse me, during the discussion items, Mr. Fox, I'd like you to give us a report on the superintendent's interviews. All right, at this time, we're going to move to the discussion items. The first item is move the middle school back to MLK and K4 at Edgewood. Any discussion on that? And I believe that, Mr. Fox, that was your item that you brought for the board.
Yes, I don't think that seventh graders need to be in the same school as 12th graders. I don't know who made that change. We weren't here when it happened, but I think it needs to be changed back just for liability reasons. So they can be in the same school as kids their age. That's pretty much it with that. I don't know how much discussion needs to be held, but that's my opinion.
And I apologize, Mr. Fox. I know, Attorney Delaporte, you had some comments too. Can you do that later in the agenda? Okay. Okay, so because of liability reasons and because it's better to have those children separated.
Right.
Is a reason for that. Any comments from the superintendent or?
We want to make sure it's fiscally sound as well, making that decision to move them back to the MOK. You talk about moving to MOK 6-8, is that right?
Right. 5-8.
5-8. So you have 4 grade levels at MLK. So we already have a lot of building space here not being used at the high school. I question, can K5 fit into Edgewood or K4 fit into Edgewood along with our ISD programs? Where would those ISD feeder programs go?
Edgewood used to be a preschool through 6, so I'm not sure why it would be an issue with space.
Is it large enough?
It used to be preschool through 6th grade.
Was the ISD over there then? Because the ISD
is
has
what are they, Head Start? So that basically replaces what, preschool? So does Edgewood have preschool? Which is the ISD, right? So that basically replaces what preschool used to be. Same space. I mean, I'm not saying it's the same education. It's the same space that's being taken up. Why would they have to move up?
Every classroom over there is full.
No.
Yeah, well, the principal's not here, so yeah, I'm asking you.
Okay, so let's break this down. ISD has one whole hallway. There's 3 hallways. ISD has their own hallway. First grade is in their hallway. Kindergarten is in their hallway. In the first grade hallway, there are 2 FT rooms. I am in one and Project Focus is in the other. In the kindergarten wing of it, there is 1 empty room, and OT, speech, and physical therapy and social work is all in that room. There is no more extra rooms. And as it is now, we have 30 kindergartners in 2 classrooms where there should have been 3.
You should have never told down.
So you're looking
How
at
does-
63 kindergartners going into first grade,
How does the
which
public
they are
get to
going to
speak at
need
this
3
time?
rooms.
So the principal is not here. That person can give us a little bit more detail about what fits in those schools.
That's not her decision. If it needs to be
Mr.
discussed more, it can be discussed more among the board.
What?
If it needs to be discussed more, it can be discussed among the board,
I agree.
not the public.
I agree. So, let us, under the discussion item A, about moving the middle school back to MLK and K4 at Edgewood, let's do some work on exactly if that's feasible or not. Do some,
So this is the issue, right? I've been asking for this to be on the agenda for about a month. We're at the end of middle of May. How fast do you think we're gonna move if our next meeting is until June 19th? Like, this is becoming ridiculous. Like, all this stalling and all this stuff we doing, I ain't really got time for it. Tired of it.
well, Mr. Fox, did you have you gone to MLK and checked to see?
I've been in every building,
Okay,
but
and
as
is
far as
it-
restructuring, no, I have not, but that's something that we need to discuss.
Okay, we can do that. Why don't we table this? Do you make a motion to table it for further discussion? You have some,
I'm sorry, yeah, I had to, I'm sorry, I had an issue at work. So I apologize for that, but are we, saying that we need to look at space at Edgewood to see if,
Yeah,
It's
schools is
feasible.
rotten. They don't care.
to have K through 4 there? Is that what we're talking
Yes.
about? Okay.
And it's still the money could revive one of the schools.
Note that you also need to make sure that there's no issues with the specials, such as, music art, like that.
Right, your electric.
Where their second grade right now is gone up, is in another building. If you move them,
No, we ain't got them.
are you gonna have coverage of those specials? So it's just a
No,
consideration.
King,
Shouldn't
Linda,
stop
Walker,
or prevent it, just
and both
consideration.
in this room. And all of them do.
The other
If
thing
we have the
is
baby
that
boomers first,
I
if this
know
new generation got a lot of kids,
I'm sorry.
it's the same thing.
Sometime this month, we need another special meeting.
No, they doing it wrong. The high school should be for the high
Maybe
school.
on attorney and move forward with the same program.
you did mention that. Okay, so, we can discuss another special, probably sooner than later. Okay, but we'll check with the board to see if, so this is the 16th. Perhaps the next Monday, board, can we consider having a special meeting on next Monday to at least get some time to review this situation? And also to consider 22nd, a bonds, what was it, a bonds?
Saying no.
A bond send note? Okay.
You need to choose a bond attorney and pass all the necessary information for, documentation for your state.
I see, okay. We will wait till the end of this to determine whether or not we're going to have a special meeting. We can talk about that among ourselves, Monday. Okay, thank you.
I'm not a finance attorney. While I could do it, it is better done by somebody who's a specialist in that area.
What about Ms. Birdsall?
Ms. Birdsall, I believe, is a specialist in that area.
Oh,
Finance attorneys, they have the proper documents ready to go. They know what they need in order to make it happen, coupled in on the state aid. And what I do it, yes, it would cost you way more.
So is it a short duration, this person who have
Correct.
a short contract with him?
Correct. For the purpose, you would hire them for the purpose of the state aid.
Airstart wasn't the
So are we talking a process
thing
of
back
30
then,
days,
was
60
it?
days?
No, not when we was coming up here. Start wasn't.
That
We had preschool, kindergarten. No, we just had preschool, kindergarten, but it was most schools though, cause too. King, Lindbergh, Loftus, Edgewood, Roosevelt, and Gambia.
So a short term.
And now we only got rid
And typically, is the cost exuberant?
Heights and middle. So we only got 3 mills.
in fact, you do have one option in which, if you.
That's why I never understood how you cut out a school that's right next to the project.
That,
I mean,
educational service provider
that
will
was that much money, right?
cost for, providing state aid.
And they busting kids from out of pot, go over there, and then over there. Parents dropping them
The MN1 has offered to provide the attorney, a finance attorney, in order to prepare if you are uncomfortable with that, I have also provided you with the name of somebody who has done that with the district in the past when they go over. So either of those people can do it. There are others out there. Some of them will not do it for charter school. Unfortunately, for example, True Law Firm does a lot of financing. They refuse to do it for charter school. It is but these two people obviously.
So is this an item for like a closed sessions meeting, or can we just proceed and have discussion with them based on the board, the pleasure of the board?
Yes, that would be the easiest way to do it. I don't think you need a session. You can receive their, their, whatever, CV, what their experience is and what the cost is. See that out before you present it to the board at the next special meeting.
Would you make that,
Okay, when we got the meeting last year, we didn't have a bond to do that. And I don't think anyone should get a attorney, that's a conflict, I think. Joe Urban was dismissed by the board, so why would we get him?
I can find you somebody
And
else.
so, I guess I don't understand why we need a specific bond attorney. Why would we spend money for that when we didn't have that prior? Like, we gotta say they know. Last year, we didn't have a bond attorney, so I guess I'm kind of confused about that.
As I recall, that was a joint project of the FD and the law firm in which your attorney at the time operated. And it was the person right before the inspector.
What she say? That's what I thought. You're right. We had more buildings to spread the students out. Right. That's what I'm saying now. So we trying to jam all these kids into 1 or 2 buildings, and they got King still up there. They sold Miss Rankin to Glendale for $1. Roosevelt turned into an apartment complex. They being greedy on that, and now our kids suffering because they was trying to line their pockets.
It would, whatever the cost is, could come out of the general fund or again, and that's what it's offering, pay it out of their normal cost.
She would open up that school right now. She'd be
That's part of their
She would have been rich. She would have been.
So do we still have Attorney Birdsall? Like, what's going on with that?
I'm right here. Could I? Sorry. Could I interject something?
Jesus.
Can I talk now or? Okay. So MM1, it's included in the contract with MM1. There's no extra cost. And then just point of clarification, and not to dispute anything that Attorney Delaporte is saying, but my understanding is that the reason we're thinking in terms of a bond attorney is because bond attorneys are also very knowledgeable in doing the paperwork required for the SANS notes. So in this case, my understanding is we're kind of using the term interchangeably, but in fact, what is needed is someone experienced with processing the paperwork for SANS notes.
Oh.
And that happens to often be someone who's also a bond attorney. So,
I use the term finance, which is the more accurate.
yeah, so it's really, it's not different than the last time, Vice President Kitchen Slater, with respect to not needing a bond attorney, we need someone who is very experienced with SANS notes. And MM1 is very comfortable having worked with the attorney that they recommended in the past, and it would be included in the cost of their contract.
She said who owned the King School building, the Hikes do, the school do, the city do.
Okay,
They ain't got nothing, they ain't
so
doing nothing
we are
about it.
going to seek additional information in regards to the move of the middle school back to
They was
MLK
trying to buy them too.
and K4 at Edgewood.
That's why the city man.
Next
brought
on the
them
agenda
people.
is the special April 28th board meeting and settlement agreement. Ms. Slade, would you like to cover anything in that particular, on the 28th, we met with a attorney, Hudson, in regards to a settlement agreement for an arbitration situation where the past superintendent, assistant superintendent, and the director of special education felt that they were terminated inappropriately. So we've been in discussion in regards to that in this settlement agreement. Rather than having to go to court, rather than litigation, we had a discussion regarding that. Ms. Hudson out of Detroit area was a person assigned to that along with Mr. Delaporte. And we were able to reach a settlement from a very large amount to a somewhat smaller amount. It will be monies that come out of the general fund, but we've asked to pay it in parts, monthly payments on it. So that was what that meeting was about. I can't go into a lot of detail, but some of you were here and asked for an update regarding that settlement agreement. So we have minutes from that meeting that need to be approved. And let's see what that is. It's a very short agenda, and the minutes are very brief. We called everything to order. We had a roll call, approval of the agenda, the closed session, attorney-client privilege discussion. We had that, and then each time that we had discussions in there as far as how to negotiate the settlement. We had to come up with the amount. We had a spokesperson there that would go and talk between two of us. The individual that we were dealing with were in another location, and we were in our closed session room here. And we would come up with a number, and then we would negotiate down further. But each time we negotiated, we had to come out and make a motion to accept those particular changes as far as what the actual amount would be, whether we would settle on. So we did arrive at a amount that was much less than what we started with, and we believe that we'll be able to pay those monies from our general fund. So that is basically what the minutes are saying to us. And so at this time, I would like to make a motion to accept the minutes of the April 28th special board meeting regarding the settlement agreement. Is there a second?
That's not on the agenda. That's discussion. It's not action, right?
Oh, okay, so we'll wait, okay? Well, that's what that's all about. So at this time, we'll go into the superintendent process update.
We're down
Mr.
to
Fox, number C.
We're down to 3 candidates. Dr. Lee, she couldn't move forward with the process due to her scheduling, due to some scheduling conflicts. So we have Nicole Raymer out of California. She relocated to Holland. Alexia Alexander, she's a Muskegon native. And I'll get you guys the third guy name. But we'll continue that process sometime next week. We don't really want to bring a superintendent in right now, not knowing what direction we're going in with all this back and forth between the two companies. Well, not between the two companies, regarding the two companies. So we'll keep you updated on that. If we have a special meeting next week, I'll have more information.
Mr. Fox, in regards to the process, I believe that the process is inappropriate. and that you acted in a manner that did not satisfy the requirements of the process. We've had some discussion in regards to this, and I've checked with other sources, and I believe that we will need to revisit the process as far as how you interviewed, and also who
What was
was,
different from the process we did for the RFP?
who was the interviewees,
What was
interviewers?
different from the process we did for the RFPs?
What do you mean, what was different
What
from
was
it?
different from what I did with the superintendents and
Because
what we did for the
we
management?
presented that, all that information to the board.
We did what?
For the RFP process,
You sent me the superintendent candidates, so
Pardon me?
we already had the candidates. Everybody knew what the candidates were, so what was different?
I don't understand the question.
What was different between what you did
The
with
the RFP process?
the management companies? When we were searching for management companies, what was different in the process? I followed the exact same process you followed.
No, you
Did I
did
not?
not. You did not. With the RFP process, we posted it for 2 weeks.
Why would I have to post it if we already had the candidates?
That's what not the RFP process itself. What he's saying is when you, interview those companies.
Okay,
and selected.
he was part of the process.
You had a review committee, right?
What was different? That's what he's asking.
I was a part of the process up until I went back to work after spring break, and then you guys started having meetings with all of you. Remember that? Okay, but it was the same process, right?
No, it was not.
What's different? Tell me.
Because we posted the information, we asked for, we
And
brought
my
all the
question is,
information.
why do I have to post the information if we already had our candidates that you sent me?
Because there was a process in place, Mr.
So you're telling me I have to
Files.
post the position again?
No, I'm saying that you were supposed to follow the process, although you were asked to work with,
Tell me the process. No, tell me.
This was this. Interview periods. We had
And
persons,
I asked you,
we
I
had,
said, when do we have time to interview at three different times? Where we're gonna have meetings back to back? Are we gonna interview?
yes, that's what we did, had meetings back to back.
We were never gonna do that. How we gonna have 3 meetings in a week?
We were gonna have 3 sessions of interviews.
And they all had to be in public settings, right?
Yes, in
So
public.
we would have had to have 3 public meetings.
No, the 2 finalists would be at the public meeting. That's what occurred. The 2 finalists would be at the public meeting.
We're talking about interviewing them. When we interview them, they have to be in the public meeting. When we go through the review process with the committee, it doesn't have to be in the public because it's not an interview. It's a review committee having discussions with those candidates. Am I wrong?
Right.
Attorneys?
The committee, if it is authorized to narrow the choices down to 1 or 2, then it is acting as a public body. If it is simply ensuring that the candidates that are presented to the Board of Education are meet the qualifications, etc., or if you are narrowing it down to 5 or 3 or whatever the case may be, candidates for the Board of Education, that was not.
If we are narrowing it down to 2 or whatever, it has to be in a public setting?
The finalists.
I want to understand what you're saying.
If it is narrowed down, let's say you have 10 candidates,
Mhm.
you're gonna narrow it down to 3 that will be presented to the Board of Education. The Board of Education will then interview those people in public so that the public can see them. That does not need to be posted because you're not really exercising the function of the Board of Education.
Now let me ask you this. Eric. Is that not what I just said?
I believe, I don't have that.
No, I'm not talking about how it went. I'm saying, did I not just say what you just said?
Yes, depending on how large the candidate is.
We had 5 candidates. We had 5 candidates. The first, initially in on February the 21st, we were going to have the 5 candidates interviewed. We had time set up for them. The candidates, which was Ms. Lee, Mrs. Laudermill, Ms. Ramir, Dr. Kevin Simmons, and Mr. Broadnax.
Kevin Simmons is the other one. But what's different?
And then, okay, so we also mentioned to the board that we were going to have a member of the community a part of that. We were going to have 2 members of the board, a parent, a teacher, and a community advocate. That was a 5-member interview panel. Is that what occurred with you?
But I just want to interject, so you tell me if I'm wrong or not. But if he's put in charge of that search or that narrowing down, he can.
No, he cannot. I had a discussion with Mr. Fox. I said, Mr. Fox.
Who came up with that process?
Who came up with that?
Who came up with that process?
Because I presented this to the board.
We didn't vote on that process?
Yeah.
You see, this is what I'm talking about. You can't just move how you want to move. That's not.
Dear board members, it is time for us to make the selection. I read this information to the board at the time, and then I gave the process to the news media.
But I know we didn't vote.
What does the news media have to do with what we're talking about?
Because they asked us who was going to be interviewed.
We didn't vote on that process that you're talking
Y'all
about.
didn't vote on it.
Mr. Fox, the process you used was inappropriate.
According to you.
The process you used was inappropriate, not just because of me.
Okay, so we have. Okay, so my question is, we have what's happening right in front of us. You just told her the process, and neither one of our attorneys are going to tell her what's going on.
Okay, stop. Who are the interviewers? You and the people.
So you just read to her what, well, I don't know if you read. You told me what the process was supposed to be or how it was, and you agreed that I said what you said basically. So why are we still talking about the same thing?
Because I'm seeking more information. I am seeking more information.
Now you're seeking more information. You were just demanding that we do something.
Who interviewed those individuals? Who was the interview panel? I listed mine. Did you list yours?
Your review committee I was involved in it, and then at the final selection, I wasn't even involved in the meeting. Let's just keep it real here, Dr. Hunt.
So
that review committee picked the ESP without a member of the board that was on the committee, right?
Who was?
Oh, you don't want to talk about facts, though.
Okay.
Who was the interview group? Who interviewed these individuals?
Who interviewed the ESP? Who interviewed for the ESP?
Okay, so.
Because she's trying to run she's trying to do this by herself. Don't make sense. It's not a secret.
So, yeah, I guess from my perspective, if he's in charge of a committee, to carry out a particular job for this board,
Why you hating?
isn't it up to him how he does that? Why is it?
Why, you just did the same thing.
Why can't he doesn't have to select.
Dictatorship.
Because there's protocol, Ms. Kitchen Slater.
What?
I asked.
No certain protocol that we voted on.
I asked him who
Ask him to be in charge of it.
Dr. Prince, Miss Leslie Kitchen Slater, Miss Antoinette Robinson, Don, I don't know how to say his last name, and myself. Your sister, Mrs. Lynott, was supposed to be on it, but you guys were on vacation. Any more questions?
Any further discussion on this, Mr. Fox?
I think it becomes important in terms of how we move forward, because certainly we don't want to be in a position where, we're told we're doing something illegal. Now, I don't, so, if you can interject.
May I respond? I think, I gave thanks because I did not get a clear answer. The reason I did not get answer is because this is not something that I read out of the statute. It's based on a variety of cases. There's a Regents of the University of Michigan case that's directly, on point. And there's some others, okay? And it's very factual in nature. So when you ask me that question, I ask, well, what was the candidate? Because it is important that under the case law, that the committee not overly narrow the candidate pool. Okay, so let's say the candidate pool was 20 and they narrowed it down to 1 or 2. That would most likely be found by a court too narrow.
That's too narrow.
They would have had to post their meetings as a board type action. It would have had to occur in another meeting. Okay? If it is 5 and it's being narrowed to 2, that probably, and I say probably because there's no case directly on it, but that probably will be muster. The other half of it is that it has to be done in a way that there is no, like any type of open RFP type process that includes selections, that there's nobody involved in making the decision that has a financial interest or anything like that.
They can get it right. Skin in the game.
So assuming that those things aren't present, then yes, that was an appropriate, at least legal process. Now, whether that met with what the board had decided was the process, I leave that to the board to discuss. But when it comes to whether it is legal, as long as they did not overly narrow the candidate pool, and as long as they did not have anybody on the committee that had a financial interest or some other conflict of interest.
Well, he's straight then.
That type of action is legal.
Well, he just said he's straight.
Is that the end of your update, Mr. Fox? Any other discussions on that?
Oh, yeah, I got one more update. So technically speaking, if you guys heard what I said, we didn't narrow the candidates down. Dr. Lee had a conflict issue and Mr. Broadnax withdrew. So at 5, take away 2, we have 3 left. We didn't narrow it down. We didn't even have the last meeting, so yeah.
So he right.
I'm done.
Rodney going to Washington.
Was a conflict. Anybody on the committee have a conflict?
Yes, they did, but as Dr. Flavin is a vendor, or attempting to be a vendor.
Oh,
and
he was approved. He was approved. The contract was approved.
No, he's attempting to be a vendor.
Oh.
I don't want to play games. Okay, so you ended your update. Thank you very much. Next, we have.
You opened that bag.
Pardon me?
You opened that bag.
I know. Okay, we're finished with that then. Okay, number D, the BOE CAP compliance request report. The authorizes submitted to us a 12-point compliance request report. And I asked for involvement of the board and was told that, well, I did get some input from 2 of the board members and 1 refused to give us any information. But this is the report as it was submitted to the PSA board, and I would like to enter it into our records. The first concern that the authorizers had for us was priorities. And it reads, educational needs of the academy students versus financial gain of vendors and contractors. Our response was concern. The educational needs of the academy students versus the financial gains of vendors and contractors are both fairly broad topics. However, a review of the school fiscal year activities indicate that the educational needs as well as agreements established with vendors and contractors have been a joint effort. New Paradigm for Education was a service provider for the system, and the PSA board, the system, is responsible for the repayment of all expenses paid for education, vendors, and contractual services. Although during the first 6 months of the joint effort between New Paradigm and the system, the system did not reimburse New Paradigm in a proper manner. There was some contention, but that was not resolved, and therefore, certainty was one of the main areas of our concern. Remedy. With the ending of this school fiscal year and the ending of the service agreement with New Paradigm for Education, the system anticipates an opportunity to assess, which is currently underway, evaluate, rebrand, and stabilize the system through the approval of a permanent superintendent, a different educational service provider, utilization of local resources, which includes ISD, state and federal support groups, volunteers, and other local sources. The board's goal is to help to stabilize the school district and to provide the educational environment that is conducive for straightforward learning for our students. If this plan is allowed to move forward, a 60-day update will be provided to BOE with options of seeking other benchmark efforts to enhance improved efforts. And that was our response in regards to the educational needs of our students. I am not going to take time to read the entire information. It'll be posted on the website for those that have interest in what that CAP report was given to BOE and the timelines that we have to actually initiate the recommended remedies or to find ways to enhance each area of the that's required in the report. The other areas that were asked were how to avoid fiscal stress on the academy, board procurement policy, what that means to BOE and BOD, large versus small spending contracts for services, goods, and supplies, employee compensation / reasonableness comparisons with similar school districts, proper prior authorization approval before contracting and spending money, the Open Meetings Act, compliance to that, and BOE requests for financial information, cash flow analysis, and the last one was more helpful accounting information from the Academy independent auditors. And that ended that report. Next on the agenda discussion item is the interim superintendent's withdrawal from the interview process. Any discussion on that?
Yes, Madam President. I have enjoyed my time as the interim superintendent here. I have taken a job as superintendent of schools outside of Spokane, Washington, Seattle, Washington, beginning July 1st. It's been an interesting ride. It's been an interesting ride. I appreciate our staff, students, and all the community for working with us to help us close the school year. I did send this to the board last week after I accepted the position. And I did tell them I will continue to work as the interim superintendent to ensure that we close out the school year successfully and continue to support our staff, students, and community as we move forward. I do have a huge family to take care of, and I can't wait around. There are little jobs, you open up when they offer you a job, you got to take it. You got to take it, and so I appreciate the opportunity to come to serve. Now, with that being said, we need to make sure that we focus on kids. These kids need all of you. all of you. These kids need all of you. People want to see this district shut down. I've heard it all across the community. I go get my hair cut, I go eat, I go everywhere around here. People do not want to see this school district open or survive. We're going to have to be together. We'll have to be on one accord. That's what's going to have to happen. All the egos, all the hidden agendas have to go in order for the district to continue to maintain. Students need you. It's not about us. It's about kids.
Amen.
When I went to MLK the other day, I pulled up and I was in my car and I was leaving. Kids were coming in from recess. I had about 10 at my window, just surrounding my car, wanting to talk to me. That's because I'm on the campus quite a bit. But that's the kind of love they're looking for from all of you. And so I appreciate the board of directors, all of you, allowing me to come be a part of the school district these 4 months. My aunt is even here tonight, first time ever coming to Michigan. She's sitting right over here to the right. I thought I'd bring her to the Heights to see how things work in the Heights. And so she's never been to Michigan. It's the first time even coming to this part of the state. She's never been to Detroit. But let's show her how we care about kids. Let's show her how we care about kids. So yes, I have taken another job, and we'll start July 1st.
Congratulations. But I need to clear something up. Dr. Hunt, I called Mr. Broadnax today to let you know. You told me that I asked you, did he resign yesterday? You said yes, he did not receive an invite for the interview. Can you clarify what happened with that? Because I was told different.
Can I clarify?
Yes.
I spoke with Mr. Broadnax after he let me know what was going on, and I asked him about his interview with the board. He said that he was called but not given a date for interview. That was my understanding. Is that what I was told?
Yeah, he called, she sent an email for a Thursday date, but no time. But by that time was Wednesday, and I had already sent the letter to withdraw. That's what happened. And I was out of town prior to as well.
Okay, that's not correct, Laura.
All right, next we have discussion item F, purchase of 2 vans for homeless students and athletes. Mr. Fox?
This will be purchased out of our ESSER funds that we're still not tapped into. We have people that can help us access those funds, but I sent the email, nobody responded but the attorneys. We can get 2 vans to help students that are homeless, to get back and forth from school, after school programs or whatever, but I just wanted to put that on there to put it in you guys' head. We got the money to do it.
I actually talked to him about that. And he was looking into that. When we had one of our partnership meetings, and I talked to him about that because it was brought up. I was talking to, but basically, what prompted me to ask him was, I guess we had a family living at a hotel.
We got several of those.
And buses wouldn't go to the hotel to pick them up, and so I'm like, okay, can we purchase some vans? And so that's how, so we kind of went forward with that, when I brought it up to Mr. Broadnax. I don't know where you were with that, so.
So the ESSER dollars can only be spent on ESSER things. However, ESSER 2 could be supplanted, but it has to be related to COVID. Does it relate to COVID? ESSER 3
Homelessness doesn't relate to COVID?
No, it has to be specifically related to COVID.
We'll talk to the people that will be here.
But we could go access some other funds.
Yes.
Partnership.
To do so. You will have around $1.1 million for 21H, partnership agreement.
Any further discussion? Okay, now we're into action items. Number A is a new point at this time. Number B, motion to move the middle school back to MLK and K4 at Edgewood. Was the decision to table that for further investigation, or what do you want to do with that?
Table.
Maybe have a motion?
Make a motion to table, moving middle school back to MLK and K4 back to Edgewood.
Okay, roll call, please.
Dr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Manat, Ms. Slater, Fox, yes.
Okay, number C, I'd like to entertain, I make a motion to accept the BOE edits of the MM1 contract. Can I get a second? Roll call, please.
Cool. Dr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Manat, Ms. Slater,
No.
Fox, no.
Okay, number C then is dead. Okay, number D, motion to approve minutes. Oh, we already did that. Motion, oh no, motion, yes.
May I say this word? This should not be interpreted as favoritism for one versus the other. Options, I am not, I receive nothing, nor am I influenced in any way by either company. What I will say is that right now, and I'll stress this again, you do not have a management services agreement in place, and you do not have an educational service provider. Okay? At any point, NPFE could pick up, walk out, and your teachers and students would have no employment, or I'm sorry, your teachers would have no employment, and your students would have no teachers. There are certain things that are done by your management services or your education services provider, such as finance. You do have to, prior to June 30th, you must pass a budget amendment that complies with money that has been spent versus what may have originally been budgeted. There are differences, just like there are in every school district every single year. Normally, a school district will pass a budget amendment in November or December, and again another one in May or very early June. That has not happened here, and we all know the struggles that the board has had with that, has been stated in your February 9th decision to part ways if things weren't cured and if bridges weren't cured. You have a variety of things that need to be in place right now, including efforts to graduate seniors, special education, you name it. Moreover, NPFE has run more expensive than it had projected. You are losing your fund balance. You need to have a certain fund balance at the end of the school year in order to remain open. That can be taken care of by having your management company start to backfill from ESSER funds where it's legally allowable. Grants from 31A money to make 21A make. Okay, and but that doesn't happen overnight. It needs to happen as soon as possible. Okay, right now you are set up for a full service management company and you don't have a management company. All right. What the vote that was put before you was a vote to approve the changes that the Board of Education made. You have already approved the MM1 contract. The Board of Education was unwilling to move forward. It was inclined to disapprove the contract unless certain changes were made. Those changes were made. It was actually 3 rounds of changes instead of normally it would have been 1 round. It was 3 rounds of changes, and those changes were reflected in the document that I sent you a week or 2 ago. I apologize, I don't remember the exact date. These are not changes that were substantive changes to the contract that you already approved. These were check the box type changes, ones that the Board of Education required. I urge you to consider, and it doesn't have to be MM1, but you need to have a management company in place to handle the upcoming challenges that you're going to have as this year closes out. You have to have somebody that is preparing a budget. You have to have somebody who is preparing all the proper documentation and switch money out of your fund, your ESSER funds and these other grant funds. I encourage you to reconsider, at least with the understanding that the only thing that you are voting on that is different from the last time that you approved the management services agreement is are the changes made by the Board of Education without which they would not have approved the contract. If you have to switch horses midstream, so to speak, you are looking at least another 30 days before you can move forward with a contract, because the Board of Education has indicated that it will take 30 days to consider any service or educational service provider contract.
Monkey wrench.
The DOE, is that incorrect? They said they have 30 days. They don't have to exercise the 30 days. If we have been going back and forth about the contract that we voted on for medicine for, so I don't know how long. I was just made aware, probably not even a month ago, that these talks have been going on with Medicine 24 since November 2022. And the entire board was not made known about this, which is concerning to me. We wouldn't have had to be in this position. When we talk about information and communication being shared, we wouldn't be in this position. I voted no for MM1 when it was brought up before. I'm voting no again. Meta 24 can do the same thing that MM1 is doing. So
Make them a
I'm
full service.
going to stand on my vote of no. And according to, again, Robert's Rules of Order, dead issue.
Any other comments? Let me ask a question, Attorney Delacorte. So what we just asked the board to do was to vote on the BOE edits, not the contract, correct?
Correct.
Okay,
You already approved
the
the
contract.
contract. When you approved the contract, the terminology that was used was that it was subject to the Board of Education, changes from the Board of Education.
So we,
Then the BOE does not have to authorize.
that's not true. That's not true.
I'm not asking.
If these BOE edits are not approved, the Board of Education will
Not
likely
notify us.
take the position that it is disapproving the contract.
And we've not received that information.
Correct.
Okay, that's why I wanted to find out. And the reason that we have this on the agenda is because we were asked to make certain that we brought this information to the board.
Correct.
So we voted on here the BOE edits, and it was 2-2. 2 said no. So in that case, if BOE comes forward and says they don't have anything to disapprove, our vote, does it matter at all?
What happened is your vote causes the contract to revert to its original format without any changes from the Board of Education that the Board of Education requires. At that time, it's up to the Board of Education whether they will approve or disapprove. And if they do disapprove, then we have to look at whether it is a statutory reason for disapproving or a conflict with the charter contract, because the law limits the Board of Education's power to disapprove a contract. They can only disapprove it if it violates state or federal law, or if it violates the charter agreement. Okay. I would posit that it did not violate either of those. However, the Board of Education took the position that without the changes, they would not approve. Okay.
So if the edits were made, and we're looking at those edits, because we can't dictate to BOE how they edit it. We can't dictate that. They look at it and based on their thinking. So the board is just now saying that even though the BOE made edits, we don't have a position on it. Is that what we just, because no one agreed, I mean, it was not passed that we accept the edits. Does that matter as far as what BOE has to do?
It is now entirely up to the Board of Education, because by not accepting the edits, it has the effect of returning the contract to the status it was in when it was voted on by the Board of Education, approved first. Okay, it is up to now the Board of Education whether that version is sufficient to pass muster or whether they are going to disapprove it. If they disapprove it, they must disapprove it for one of the two reasons that I stated. If they can't just decide, like for example, the third round of changes from the Board of Education were not substantive, they had nothing to do with the legality or compliance with the charter contract. So, if they disapproved it because we didn't include that language, that would not pass muster. We could proceed forward.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we're on action item E, motion to accept the resignation and withdrawal of, from the interview process and resignation of the interim superintendent effective June 30th, 2023. Would anyone like to make a motion on that? Okay. It's been made, motion's been made and seconded. Could we have a roll call, please? Did you say someone, or did you say? Oh, me. Okay, I'll second it. So it's been moved and seconded. Could we have a roll call, please?
Dr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Minogue, Ms. Slater, Fox abstain.
Okay, now we're at, action item F, motion to accept the interview process update. Mr. Fox made the superintendent interview process update. So are we going to accept it? Can I get a motion for that, please? The process, you said we would. Do you?
I guess, I need an understanding. Oh, I guess, well, you have to have a motion for me. I'm sorry.
Is there a motion?
She confused me.
We make a motion, we gotta vote.
Okay.
So, I don't know why we voted on it. Does this have to be voted on? Right, why does it need to be voted on? We didn't vote on it the last time we looked for a management company. Well, this was on there before the discussion, obviously, the agenda's already made, so this decision was made by who? No, I'm saying the decision was made to put this on the agenda, so our conversation had nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
They gave an update on what was going forward, or what we did with the interview process. So why are we don't need to vote on that.
A board member asked that on the agenda, that person would need a second in order to have a
Since there's no motion, then it's a moot. Okay. At this time, we're gonna have public comment. Yes. Mhm.
You did miss, you missed, the time for the high school change.
The high, oh, yeah, the added.
Yes,
Okay.
the
May I-
added
okay,
to
may I
the
have a-
agenda. Turn
Yeah.
Davenport.
The high school changes.
We also, I think, did we not miss the motion to approve the special board meeting site?
We did. Yeah, we did that.
Oh, no.
No, we didn't. No,
We didn't do that one.
Discussed it.
We
Okay.
started to do it during discussion. Somebody pointed out that it needed to be an action item, and we did not.
Okay.
That's the.
That's the, that's,
Okay, let's do that then.
It's right here.
Okay, we make a motion to approve minutes of the 4/28 special board meeting and settlement. I make that motion. Is there a second? Roll call, please.
Dr. Hunt,
Yes.
Ms. Minogue, Ms. Slater, Fox, yes.
Next is, I don't know what's next. A motion to
We skipped the
change
high-
the,
Oh, go ahead. Okay.
motion to change the hours of the school district from
High school.
high school from, what was the times again, Mr. Fox?
8:10 to 2:45.
A motion to change the times for the high school from the so stated hours, that,
It was supposed to be a discussion.
you're not ready for the question, do you want to discuss?
We skipped it as a discussion item. It was supposed to be a discussion first. But we can just table it.
Okay, do you want to table that?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll table the change of hours for the high school to our next meeting.
I know. I told you I grew up around you, you know who I was. Hey, you change, man. Just like me. Yeah, hey.
Do we have an email? What do you need to
Hey,
get
that's why they
to
came up.
access people that
Cause
want
you
to come
ain't
into the
afraid to tell
meeting?
you the truth, that's right. Same with me.
They said there's some BOE members that wanted to come into the
And they say
meeting.
something crazy.
You
They
need
think
their,
they digging up your past.
who are the members?
Hey, we're gonna talk about what you did. You ready? They don't tell there. See,
I bet, I told you, Ms. Johnson, Pierce wants you.
Oh, Miss Johnson Pierce was one of the person, who was the other person? Okay, Miss Johnson Pierce, do we have her email address?
mm. She need to be worried about her job. If she don't have it. Huh? They all gonna go to jail. They'll be all in my mouth. Hey, I know they hate me, but they better listen. It's truth to what I say. I'm finna, I put it, no, when I just got that call, you just, it's a lot of people, her, couple people, teachers, couple principals. The one she got, if they wanna buy it, she wouldn't take. I mean, if they wanna fuck that cool, she would. First I said the principal, she the principal, the special ed, and the, no, it's the superintendent, special ed, and the special ed. All three, and her. Yeah. You said it.
What are you looking
She was giving you.
Her email address is John here.
You don't supposed to say that out loud.
for? She left.
Yes, you don't. You don't supposed to say that out loud.
What? It's public.
She should be able to get it.
It's everything public. Once you hit that, it's public. If you want to send that saying, tell her to get on her job, it's public. It's public. Don't get on the board. Everybody up there for scrutiny. That's why they mad at me. The district board, the city. All that.
Yeah.
It's all up for scrutiny. No matter what they say, you might not like what I'm doing, but I got a right to do it. And I'm not doing it disrespectful because I could get
People
rid.
that are waiting
No, I ain't.
to be letting us know she returns.
And I lose focus.
Um,
I'm
Ms.
really here for the
Phillips?
kids, man. If I wasn't, they don't know me like they think they know me. They really don't. You know, she passed out some missing things.
Hi, my name is Chanel Phillips. I live at 1174 Jefferson Street, Muskegon, Michigan, 49441. I come to y'all today with some emails that were sent. I did have a meeting with Mr. Barnett, and Mr. Clark about some situations. We have an audit tomorrow at Muskegon Heights Academy. And there's some documents that need to be brought to this thing. In this email, it pertains, it's some documents that says that from me and Mrs. Clark, that is some items that I need. There's also some evidence that proves that some of these items Mrs. Clark has already gotten, and as of Monday, she told me I need them, I don't have them. She has them. So if I already go back, it's gonna be on her, because I don't have the documents that they're requiring per this email. Second, during this email, in our conversation, she talked about some water coolers. Everybody knows Mrs. Cooper been up here talking about these water coolers and the funding for getting all the schools to get the water coolers. I was sick in January. My boss, Ms. Patton, told me, before I got sick, she told me to have one of the water coolers sent back to the company. Well, I got sick before they came. So the man from the water cooler, I didn't see him in February. I saw him in March. When he came in March, I asked him, did he pick up a water cooler? Because Ms. Patton ordered 4 water coolers for the students through the Chartwell. They were supposed to be billed through Chartwell. So that means that the kids is being paid through the kids' food budget. All the kids should have access to all 4 of the water coolers, right? So in March, I found out that one of the water coolers was locked up in admin office, and I told them that those coolers was funded through the kids' food budget. And Ms. Patton told me to send it back. I went up there on the 8th last month to pick up the water cooler. I got the water cooler, brought it down so the water cooler man could pick it up. Ms. Clark came downstairs and took the water cooler and took it back upstairs. Now, I managed you. I started off by saying these coolers was ordered through my boss, the principal of the school, supposed to be paid through the budget, the kids' budget. All the kids don't have access to the coolers upstairs and all. It's locked up. If it's being funded through the kids' full budget, kids should have access to it. It should be available for all the kids. That cooler is not. And as of yesterday, the cooling company called. We are 90 days past due on the bill. It ain't been paid in 90 days. They come in, they ain't being paid.
All bills that come in have been turned.
Thank you.
Yeah, that to do with,
Okay. Next is Mr. James Burton.
It's getting hot in here.
I reckon I gained more than 30.
Man, kids' lives more important. I don't like who.
Good evening, board.
Good evening, board. My name is James Burton.
You're about to speak. Get close to the speaker.
Get away from the speaker.
Get away from the speaker.
Come on this way.
Walk it off. Right there.
Come on back here where I am.
Dr. Hunt, I'm coming because I want to ask and inquire about, late in the last few months, I've been hearing from the district board how they've been telling you to submit for approval of contracts and things of that order. I just want to know, have you seen the emergency manager order 2016-12-12 that Stephen Schiller wrote up before he exited the Muskegon High School District? And particularly page 5, paragraph B, where it says the district by and through its district board and other district officers, employees and agents is prohibited from doing any of the following: directly operating a public school or enrolling a pupil in membership in the district at any time before the state treasurer certifies to the district and the advisory board that all the legacy debt of the district has been paid or otherwise satisfied, including without limitation
any liabilities of the district relating to the emergency loan from the state of Michigan or amounts owed to Mespers. Now, outside of that, you go to paragraph 3 on that, it states, except as otherwise provided in this paragraph, an order issued by the emergency manager for the district may be amended or rescinded only by the advisory board, and in the absence of the advisory board, with the approval of the state treasurer, permitted under Act 436. I would ask that you look at this emergency manager order from 2016 that Stephen Schiller wrote on the authority of the district board to oversee the PSA board. Now, for Attorney Delaporte, I have some questions on the revised school code and the ability of the district board to revoke contracts that the PSA board engages in. These are questions that I have presented to the state board, and maybe you as a legal representative for the PSA board can get in touch with Dr. Rice's office, because we've been stonewalled in trying to reach Dr. Rice personally. We've made personal visits to the State Board of Education for some reason, and I put this question before them, and I haven't received clarification on it. So in revising the revised school code, I want you to be able to go over this, and I'll show you at the end of this meeting the questions I want you to ask about the authority of the district board in revoking contracts. And maybe they can clarify that for you, since they wouldn't do it for the general public. Thank you.
Dr. Rice go with the district board, so he ain't gonna do nothing anyway. He corrupt. You got paperwork on him to come soon.
Next, public speaker will be Angela.
I'm 24/47. I am so confused. I'm supposed to listen yesterday, and I've never seen that like this before in my life. My boy, we supposed to get work together and everything. But my main thing is, I'm looking at this stuff, and I've been writing right along where y'all see. But I'm so confused where you got on the agenda where you want to change the time for the high school program, 8:10 to 2:45. How you gonna do that if we don't, listen to the lawyer man, or whatever, I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but at the end of the day, how are we gonna do this if we don't have a management company? You said we had from May until June, am I correct? Okay, so how are we gonna do this if we don't have a management company? If you don't have a management company, your teachers are gonna leave. And if your teachers leave, the students are gonna have no teachers to teach them. So therefore, what we gonna have? We have no community, we have no school. I'm confused. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
So we gotta get this together. Y'all want us to be Muskegon. You want us to be better than ever. You want us to do this and that and the other, and so forth and so forth. I am an alumni. I'm a parent. My kids are graduating from here, doing their things. They're doing great. But I am so confused. Y'all talking about times for next year. It may not be no time for next year. We may not have no school.
According to what?
I'm just saying, according to what he's saying, if y'all don't have a management company, then what you gotta do, you gotta call this month of May, you got some of June. I'm just thinking out loud, nigga. That's all I'm saying. I'm thinking out loud. I'm just saying to myself, if y'all saying, we can't even get a management company, y'all gotta figure out who this is. And then I'm thinking about the fact that y'all saying mega this, I get it. But I'm people saying mega this for the uphill, which I get it. I'm okay with it. But what about the babies too at the end of the day? I just want us to, I'm excited for what's supposed to come, what's supposed to happen. But can y'all please figure this out for our kids? Can you please figure this out for our teachers? Can you please figure this out for our students? Because at the end of the day, I see people on social media all the time. Take your kids out of the Muskegon, take them somewhere else. You giving them the ambition to take them somewhere else. Because we don't have a financial company. And if we don't have a financial company, I'm trying to figure out, I'm hoping, and I know y'all will come into it, because I have faith. I have a lot of faith for everybody. But at the end of the day, teachers are gonna listen and they're gonna hear, because people gonna go back and tell them that's what happened today. At the end of the day. And then they're gonna say, well, I think got their stuff together. So if you don't have your stuff together, why am I gonna take my kid out? First you give us hope, and then you take it away. You get what I'm saying? And everybody's excited, but I'm mind-boggling. You talking about it on the agenda, you saying time, well, high school's gonna change from this time to that time. But if you don't have what he's saying, trust me, they're gonna talk about this meeting today. You know it just like I do. Everybody, they go and tell the dog. They sell it all.
That's fine, but, are we not supposed to prepare for the fall as if we will have a school?
But we do, and I'm just saying at the end of the day, I'm just saying, I don't think our concern right now, my main concern, I don't care if the high school start at 7:02, I don't care if it start at 9 o'clock. I'm just saying, give us a financial manager, so that our teachers will not be passing up like they did for NS, whatever, I don't even know what their name is, in J, from Carolina. I'm just saying, do what you gotta do, so that our teachers don't be packing up, and we trying to keep a team together. You get what I'm saying? Get our team together, because the teachers was leaving. We did have some good teachers. We did. We had some good teachers. But the waiting and the waiting and the waiting and the waiting, they left. And then some parents are just here, somewhere else. We got to do this. Y'all say y'all figure it out. That's all I got. Figure it out.
People say the same thing. What?
Thank you.
That's why he leaves.
Ms. Clark?
So I don't think I ever talked at a board meeting because usually I'm told not to say anything. Today I have to talk because my name is brought up. So my name is brought up because of a water fountain issue. My concern right now is not a water fountain. Who's paying the bill? Wait, I'm not talking to you. It's my turn.
That's what it was brought up for.
Okay, this is not.
It's not about y'all, man, it's my turn. So, according to Ms. Stephanie Williams, she takes care of that. That money is not paid out of any student fund. But my concern, and the reason I'm talking is, we need to be concerned about these graduates that's not graduating. Nobody's talking about them. They're students that's not gonna graduate.
Let's talk about it.
We need to know.
I've been told
We got their pictures on the billboard, but they're not
They
graduating.
ain't graduating.
They're not graduating. Let's talk about that instead of a water fountain.
I told y'all.
That's my concern today. These kids not graduating. They're not graduating. So let's talk about that.
At this time, we would like to have the interim superintendent's report.
All right, it's been a very busy time in the office of the interim superintendent as we begin to move closer to close of the 22-23 school year. Interim superintendent hosted assemblies with students at all grade levels at MLK to discuss discipline, fights, and expectations to close the school year. I'd like to thank Ms. Kerr and her administration for scheduling and setting up the meetings with the students. We have almost completed our partnership agreement with the Michigan Department of Education. We have only one meeting left, and that will be held early June to finalize the details of that agreement. I've met with many parents over the past month to address many concerns that they have had. Dr. Hunt and I attended an IEP meeting at the Muskegon Area ISD, requested by the parents and the ISD. That went well. Middle school track team will be receiving new uniforms in the next couple of weeks as they have been ordered. Super proud of both our track teams and congratulate them for their accomplishments. Summer school enrollment forms were sent home to parents and families 2 weeks ago. The due date for the forms to be submitted was Friday, May 12, 2023. We will be serving breakfast and lunch. Transportation will be available. If parents have not submitted forms, because I haven't got a lot of forms at this time, MLK sent me a spreadsheet. I do have a spreadsheet from MLK. I have not seen any from Edgewood yet. Is that right? The summer school forms that went home. Okay.
No. Order in court.
We're going to, please feel free to come up afterwards and talk to Mr. Frynick about this.
Okay. All right. So I am waiting on some enrollment forms so we can make sure we have the number of staff available. Now, a lot of our staff has requested to teach summer school, and once I get those letters in, or the enrollment forms in, then we will send out summer school announcements, okay? Or assignments. I've continued to visit schools to support our staff and provide visibility to students. I've had to put the schools on a soft lockdown due to the violence in the city. That has happened twice. I'd like to thank our administration for their hard work and dedication in adhering to those safety measures. This next piece is the graduation audit is complete. Students are working to complete requirements before graduation. There will be a good amount of students that graduate, but I know we're working towards getting more students, making sure they're prepared. Miss Patton, her team are working pretty hard. We completed the audit. The ISD completed the audit. We did get the results back. I also sent them to New Paradigm because New Paradigm was still in charge of academics, and they have a responsibility and accountability for the students graduating. So I did send that to Mr. Bland, and he received it. We overnighted it to him so he could see exactly what we were seeing. It was lengthy, but students are on track. I'm not saying all of them, but Ms. Patton is working to make sure as many as possible will graduate. Okay. I attended Senior Decision Day last week. I appreciate the work that was put forth to ensure it was a successful event. And Ms. Patton and her team put that together. We appreciate that. I attended a meeting with the MDE, ISD, and New Paradigm regarding our 21H funding on May 10th and today at 2 o'clock to discuss 21H funding. I'm just going to say this. We've had plenty of money, but we've not used the money. We've not used the money. And if we don't use the money, we're not eligible to apply again. So there was about $595,000 and 21H money that was just sitting out there. Nobody's ever touched it. And then there's another $600,000 that, and this is over a 3-year period. So the school year should start off with about $1.1 million in just 21H money. And that conversation was had today between MDE, the ISD, myself, and New Paradigm. And New Paradigm was
just a second. Anything else regarding funding, can I please be involved?
Right? Yes. But sometimes those meetings, Mr. Fox, during the day, we don't know if you're working or not, but yes.
You still got to reach out.
Yeah. The school grounds are looking great. I'd like to thank Mr. Dye and his staff for the work they're doing to keep the campuses looking good, and looking like strong educational environments. So grounds are looking really good. I don't like when I see trash and I roll up on the campuses, but they're trying to keep them straightened out. I have approved all invoices from our vendors to be paid. I have no more. All those have been sent over to the business office to Ms. Lewis for pay. We have several disciplinary hearings pending concerning students at MLK. Those meetings will be scheduled to take place by the middle of next week. Finally, we've had a case of the scabies at Edgewood in one classroom. I'd like to thank Ms. Crockett for her quick responsiveness to ensure all students and staff were safe. A letter was sent home from our office to notify the parents and the staff about the small outbreak we had. Did send that to the board just for your FYI, for your information. And as I conclude tonight, I always leave a quote. I want to say this, a good teacher can inspire hope, ignite the imagination, and instill a love of learning. That's what teachers do. Thank you.
I got a couple of questions.
Yes.
I want to start with the scabies.
Yes.
I was told that by a couple of people that teacher was forced to come to work that day still.
That teacher was supposed to do it?
She was forced to come to work that day still, the one that has scabies?
I don't know anything about that. All I know is that she came to work. Whatever happened that day, I got a call about midday that she had scabies, and there were 3 other students.
Right, okay. Right.
Yeah, we did get the room and everything disinfected. We moved, Ms. Crocker moved everybody out, separated all the students, and then we went into deep clean. Okay?
Okay. My next question is, bullet point 4 says, Dr. Hunt and I attended an IEP meeting at the Muskegon Area ISD. The board isn't supposed to be involved in anything like that.
The parent requested.
We still are supposed to be involved in anything like that.
Parent requested, so she'll deal with parent request.
Okay, let's rewind a little bit. Do you recall when I asked for a meeting with Ms. Crockett regarding to issues last week?
Yeah.
And Dr. Hunt emailed me and said the board can't do that. It should be referred to Mr. Broadneck. You remember that?
Yep.
Any difference?
Not really.
Oh, okay. So Dr. Hunt, why were you in the IEP meeting?
If you want to talk to me about that after the meeting, I'll be happy.
It's a public
It's
meeting.
a public meeting.
The IEP meeting,
Right, we're not supposed to be in those.
because I was requested by the parent to be there.
Right, but if you know the rules and the orders that we're supposed to follow, you would know that you weren't supposed to go.
So you're recommending me?
I'm asking why you went.
Are you recommending?
It's not a game, Dr. Hunt. It's not a game.
I'm just saying, the parent asked me to be there.
She don't like being.
Okay. But when it's on me, I'm creating false narratives,
I
right?
didn't say that.
Oh, it's in the email. Oh, okay.
So,
We can move on. We can move
discuss
on.
this afterwards if you like.
I'm going home now.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Oh, this is pretty good.
Comments now from the board of directors. Are there any more comments? If no more comments.
No, I got the comments. Good evening. I am writing to address some concerns of the students, staff, and community. The challenges our district has overcome is nothing short of amazing. And I'm speaking through all of this, even when I was in high school. Although those challenges were here before any of us were on this board, we have been appointed to correct it. I have been told to stand down when it comes to Meta through email. Told that I am spreading false narratives through email. And basically told that I am stating one thing while making a motion, but the audio says a totally different thing regarding Meta. I have been told that we don't have a contract with Meta and it was just a proposal. From my understanding, if it was a proposal, it wouldn't require a vote. Nonetheless, Dr. Hunt, you sent the email to Ms. Clark asking if she had a copy of the contract and to send it to all board members. Do you remember that? If not, I have it right here. I printed it. I was also told that the attorneys aren't authorized to speak with Dr. Prince and Meta, but they had direct communication with MM1. I have that email printed as well if you need it. Additionally, the first email regarding Meta was March 10th. That's to the whole board, but before that you had it in December. Why are you acting as if you didn't know what they offered? We also had a meeting scheduled over Zoom with Dr. Prince on March 24th. There was a meeting with MM1 and Dr. Prince to discuss what the fall would look like with both companies working together. If we didn't have a contract or anything, why are they having that meeting? Again, we only have a proposal according to you. I requested the receipts of Mr. Broadneck's lodging, and he told me that you wanted him to wait until you were in town to give them to me. You've been back in town a few days, and I still don't have those receipts as of 4 o'clock today. You signed his check for the full amount, knowing I had these questions. Yet we still failed to pay one of our vendors who helped us out tremendously, and they've been gone over 2 months. I don't understand why you don't lean on your board for assistance. That's why we are here. You trusted me with the superintendent search, but then you tried to snatch it back in the lead role because I didn't follow the process you had in place. The board never voted on a specific process, so why should I follow one you created when you were leaving town? I waited almost 3 weeks for an opinion letter from our attorneys for it to only have issues with the meta language and questions I felt could have been answered with a direct email to Dr. Prince. The people who I've been in contact since meeting Dr. Prince have been a ton of help. I sent the resume and the contract for someone that can help us with the grant, and Dr. Hunt, you didn't reply. For some reason, you replied to some of your emails while you were gone, but the important ones got away. I am not an attorney. I do not have a doctorate degree, but I do have common sense and a well-rounded education. I know when someone's attempting to stall or keep certain information from me. I have and always will be an advocate for the kids of Muskegon Heights and the county as a whole. If your heart isn't in the right place, please exit these doors, take Sanford Street to Sherman, take a right on the highway, and never look back. Better yet, get your hat, your coat.
Leave. That's what I'm talking about.
Any other comments?
The true hurts. The truth hurts. I approve that.
Thank you. So, I think moving forward, as we continue to move forward, we do need to have our financial person here to give a financial report. Because I see some information that we paid a substantial amount of money. A check was sent to Institute for Excellence in Education. I don't even know who that is, and I don't know what type of contract we have with this company. So that is something that needs to be looked into. So I don't know who, like I said, who that is, but we do need to move forward, make sure that our financial situation is in order. I want. Okay. Well, thank you for clarifying that, because with that being said, I was told that we were not going to pay the National Charter Institute that amount of money, but I guess that can be a discussion for something later too. But I'd like to end with this. So if there is any encouragement in Christ, any comfort from love, any participation in the Spirit, any affection and sympathy, complete my joy by being of the same mind, having the same love, being in full accord and of one mind. Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. That each of you look not only to his own interests, but also to interests of others. Have this mind among yourselves, which is yours in Christ Jesus. And as I stated, as the other board member, anything I bring that of that nature, I'm talking to myself as well. You know, Ms. Locke, I'm remembering a statement that she said while she was giving her comments, that, oh, this is gonna be all over Facebook. We need to stop putting stuff all over Facebook. Because it's not conducive to being on one accord. It's not conducive to us doing what we need to do as a community to get things done. There's been a lot of stuff said about me on Facebook. I take no concern for any of that, because people who know me know me. Those who don't, if you want to get to know me, the best person to ask is me. So I'll state that I know that it's been on Facebook that I was sued. That is not true. So when you get your information from a source, make sure the source is correct, because that is incorrect. I won't go into any further detail about that, but that is incorrect. So the thing about Facebook is just that. It's a bunch of, if you allow it to be, inaccurate information, pot-shotting at people and all of that, unnecessary.
see if she's gonna answer next time. Then she's gonna
Mr.
talk.
Nadia. Thank you all for coming. A lot's been said here tonight, and
She did. We all got some.
a lot has been said here tonight. A lot has been said about myself and my leadership, and you can continue to judge it if you choose to. But I'm still going to continue to work for the students of this community. It's about the students. It's not about me. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. We all do. But I'm going to keep working for the students of this district. That is where my heart is. I'm not going to get my hat. I'm not going to get my car. I'm not going to gas up and drive away. That's not how I do it. So if I'm sitting on this side of the table, that's fine, or on that side of the table, whichever it is, I'm committed to doing what I can for this community while here. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
Roll call, please. Yes.
When you're a public figure, you're gonna be on Facebook. And as long as I'm writing, I'm still gonna write. I don't care how y'all mad, get mad about nothing. Nah, say that.
Thank you all for coming.
Tell the truth. We got sued because of you doing stuff you weren't supposed to do. So tell the truth on that. Tell the truth why you was holding them off. Yeah, tell them the truth. You don't